All right, well, it looks like we have 10 a.m. here on the Pacific Coast, and I'm sure it may be afternoon for some of you across the U.S. We will go ahead and get started because we are at that time. And first, let me introduce myself. I am Robert Clark with Petersen International Underwriters. I'm an account executive here, and look forward to reviewing some of the details we have on our new stock option DI plan. Which is probably something you've never heard of, and a very unique tool to have in your portfolio. So without further ado, let's jump on in. You know, in today's U.S. economy, we have over 1,500 companies traded on the New York Stock Exchange. These companies are led by a great number of individuals, many who are considered executives and leaders within their organizations, and they're what drive the great performance and large growth that we see on the stock exchange today. Now, it's safe to say that these individuals are appropriately compensated for those duties. In fact, they receive a large salary. However, a majority of their compensation comes from stocks, and this is stocks within their own company, either granted to them or the option to purchase them as a form of income. So our key here is publicly traded companies, okay? These executives are receiving a large income that, again, are coming from the stock options granted by the company to these individuals. Now, a big problem we see when it comes to disability insurance planning is that these individuals are eligible to replace 2/3 of their salary. The salary that they're receiving isn't the majority of their income. They're seeing a large amount from these stocks. And so while it's good to say they can insure 2/3 of their salary income, we're not looking at the bigger picture. So what Petersen International has created is a product that's like no other currently out there. And that's a stock option income protection product, or stock option disability insurance, which can finally pay out a client or executive up to 5 times the value of their stock that they're receiving from their company. This is a really unique product, and again, it's the first ever of its kind. I can't emphasize enough the key of publicly traded companies. This is not for private organizations awarding stocks to some of their key individuals, but it must be a publicly traded company and an employee thereof receiving stock option income from that organization.
Thank you.
Excuse me here, looks like we have some feedback coming in, so I just want to make sure everyone's muted for the time being. What you have now in your toolbox is a unique product that no one else can offer. This is your foot in the door, or your reason to bring up disability insurance planning with these key individuals. So how the stock option DI plan works is it's going to take a 3-year average of the stock options or awards that that executive has received. What it does with that 3-year average is allows us to offer a benefit amount in the form of a lump sum up to 5 times that number. Now, this benefit or this policy can be a fully underwritten individual plan, or we also have guaranteed issue opportunities if we can consider a group. And we'll be getting to that towards the end of today's webinar. So, jumping right in, how does this apply directly to your client? We're going to look at Mr. Kevin Scott, a Senior Vice President of Engineering and Operations at a company you might be familiar with. That would be LinkedIn Corporation. So Mr. Scott, in 2013, earned $900,000 in salary and bonus income. What may not be considered is over $5 million he was granted or had options to purchase in stocks in the company. These stock options have become 85% of Mr. Scott's income. So if we consider disability insurance planning for Mr. Scott, we're going to look at he's eligible to replace up to 2/3 of his salary and possibly even bonuses depending on the carrier. This could probably bring him close to $600,000 a year in disability benefits. But when we get down to it, that's about 10% of the income he's used to seeing when we look at the full picture. So the reason a stock option plan now exists is to provide a benefit against the stock option awards that he's used to receiving and has received for the previous years. Let's say a disability strikes. We're going to play this out. Mr. Scott incurs a disability. He was sufficiently protected for his salary and bonuses, so he receives 2/3 of that income for as long as he's disabled. What a stock option DI plan will do is, if he were to have purchased that $27 million benefit, again, that's 5 times the stock options he was being awarded, that's saying, Mr. Scott, because you had this large income and large income from stocks, this 5 times lump sum is going to give you a cash value for the stock options you would have received next year, the year after, and years 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now we've fulfilled his almost great majority of his full income, including stock options, for the next 5 years. Now, this disability benefit is paid as a lump sum to Mr. Scott once he's identified, 12 months after he's identified as permanently totally disabled. The stock option DI plan is an own occupation definition, and again requires Mr. Scott to be unable or suffer a career-ending disability, not allowing him to perform his executive duties at LinkedIn or another company. So we can see that a $27 million benefit for his stock option income would range at just over $100,000 in premium. That might knock you off your seats if you're listening into this. However, this is just a small majority of Mr. Scott's income and very sufficient to replace at a low cost to him. If we take a step back, we can understand that executives at these large corporations aren't alone. Almost all of the senior staff and hundreds of other executives within these organizations are awarded some benefit or some portion of a stock in the company as a form of compensation. Because this is something that's never been available to them, it's your unique way to get in the door, and we have a number of eligible individuals which should always make us aware of the guaranteed issue opportunities that are available. So Petersen International can offer a guaranteed issue option for the stock option DI plan with just a minimum of 3 lives or 3 executives. If we see here on the LinkedIn specific example, this is just the top 5 executives at LinkedIn. And it's evident that a majority of these individuals' income is coming from stock options. Let me just side note that each of these printouts on LinkedIn are available on salary.com, and that's what's been referenced for today's presentation. So when we look at guaranteed issue, we can even enhance the benefits available to Mr. Scott by saying, if we get you and your whole team together on this, we can offer a premium discount. We're going to remove the need for any exams and any underwriting. And should you leave this organization, this policy is portable to take with you. Those are great advantages. Premium discounts alone, we can see anywhere from 5 to 10% for the smallest number of individuals, all the way up to 25 or 30% if something were to be implemented for the entire company. Again, this 5 times lump sum benefit is an up to, so that's the maximum amount available. It's not required that they purchase a 5 times benefit, but that's what's available to them. One of the key benefits of the stock option DI product is the number of competitors that exist in today's market. In this white box, you'll see all of the other carriers offering disability insurance against an individual's stock option income. This goes for you too. The number of insurance agents aware of this product are very few and far between. This is your unique value proposition to get in the door and in front of these executives. So, in conclusion, what we have to highlight is that this is applying to publicly traded companies. Again, your unique way to get in the door, and while you may be working with a particular individual, it's a benefit to you, it's a benefit to the client, and it makes it easier for everyone if you are able to get the group. None of their other colleagues or executives have seen a product like this or have been offered terms on a product like this. And so this is your way to reach out to that larger audience. So although rather simple, I'm sure we'll have a number of questions out there. We would love to answer at your convenience. I'm going to attempt to open up the mic for a follow-up discussion here. So if anyone has any questions, please type it into the chat box, or I'm going to begin unmuting people. And if we get terrible feedback, I'm just going to have to close that out, but we're going to give it a whirl here.
Why the hell?
So,
yeah.
Again, please note that many of you are...
Yeah, I'm going to finish up this conference call. You want to give me a shout after the next thing?
Could you guys talk a little bit about how this product would be tied to the value of underlying security?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'm just curious if you can touch on if the benefit would be tied to the value of those stocks in the future. If it would fluctuate at all based on the value of the stock.
The benefit amount, the benefit is not looking at the value or the future value of those stocks. What we're ensuring is the future stock option grants to that employee. So we're not looking at the value of the previously awarded stocks, just almost like a loss of future value. If you were to become disabled, he's not going to receive those stock option grants in future years.
And the same for portability then, if they work for a publicly traded company and then leave and do consulting on the side on their own, that would still be the covered benefit amount?
It would, you know, at claim time, it is going to look at the last 3 years. So it wouldn't be a benefit if he leaves an organization and no longer receives a stock option income. It's not going to have any benefit to him to continue the policy, because that's not an income he's currently receiving.
Okay.
I'm going to try and mute out where we're getting feedback here. Okay. At this point, everyone should be unmuted. So if you have a question, please speak up.
I have a question. Is there any benefit for partial disability?
There is not a benefit for partial disability. So this is a permanent total disability product, and therefore it would have to be a career-ending disablement in order to receive the benefit.
Is this available for sale in Maryland?
Can you repeat the state?
Maryland?
In Maryland, it will be available for sale in Maryland as of October 1st of this year.
And is that the same for all the other PI product lines?
Correct.
Okay.
So, yep. All Lloyd's coverage will be able to be processed in Maryland as of October 1st. If you want it quoted in that state, we can do that. However, we just can't accept an application prior to October 1st.
Do you have a list of all states where this will be approved?
I'm sorry?
Is there a list of all states where it's going to be approved?
It's available in all states except except two. That would be Rhode Island and Montana.
Is it typical for an executive to lose his stock option if I'm disabled?
Yes. Well, essentially, if he's disabled and not able to work at that organization, again, it's a loss of future value. So he's not going to receive a stock option grant the following year.
Tomorrow we'll be there.
Because he's not currently working for the company.
No, but you're going to Torrington with me.
Okay, well, I have tried my absolute best to remove any feedback we're getting, and I hope that answers the majority of the questions on the table. If not, if you have some follow-up, please don't hesitate to give us a call. You can reach us here at 800-345-8816. Our website is www.piu.org, and you can email me directly. That's robert@piu.org. And again, 800-345-8816. I will leave this screen up should you need to refer to any of the information listed. And appreciate you all for attending today's session. So, take care and have a great day.
Thank you.